Now, what are we going to do with these four? I suppose we could say, in fact, it's clear that these four lied. They made the stories up. They just were trying to concoct a pleasant ending to rather a bit of terrible heartache, and so they came up with these four stories. All right, so let's assume they lied. Why would they lie? Well, maybe they wanted riches. They thought if they could tell the story, it would make them rich. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is that all four were dirt poor, were paupers, lost everything in the world, so to speak, because of society's reaction against their claim that, in fact, Jesus Christ was raised from the dead. So they didn't do it for riches. Did they do it for glory? If they did it for glory, they certainly missed the boat on that one because society turned on them. And in fact, 10 of the 12 followers of Christ who testified, Judas, you remember, hung himself. 10 of the 12 died violent deaths because they asserted that this Jesus of Nazareth was raised. So why would they do it? One we can understand, but four, in perfect concordance, why would they do it? Why would anybody make up a story such as the resurrection of Christ? And when you think about making it up, you think, well, maybe, when they realized that it didn't turn out quite the way they had expected, they changed the game plan. And they said, well, actually, he rose. But I want to remind you that all four accounts were written 30, 40, 50, and even 60 years after the death of Christ and resurrection. So there has been plenty of time to go by. You can't pull the story back in now. It's already gone. And yet 30, 40, 50 years later, they write with precision their conviction that they witnessed, in fact, the resurrected Jesus of Nazareth. So what's going on here? You have to come to the conclusion as a thinking person reading the document. I'm not asking you to believe, but you have to come to the conclusion that these four believed that, in fact, the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth indeed did happen. And because they believed, I'm willing to place my faith in that same story. You say, oh, come on, can you prove it to me? I can't. No. Even this, what I've just shared with you, doesn't prove the resurrection. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, if I put this little equation on the screen, 2 + 2 = 4, do you know what? Neither you nor I can prove the truth of that equation. We simply can't prove it. You can tell me about it, but we can't prove it. And by the way, because I believe in the resurrection of this Jesus of Nazareth, I also believe in eternal life. And in fact, what would be the point of eternal life if the resurrection weren't true? Let me go to a movie. I predict you've never seen this one. The title of the movie is The Body with Antonio Banderas. Supposedly in this movie, an actual bone of Christ was found in a Palestinian shopkeeper's backyard in Jerusalem. And so, aha, see now this is proof that Jesus of Nazareth was never resurrected. Well, the Pope decides to send a priest to investigate this unusual discovery, and the priest in his investigation comes across in one scene an Israeli woman who is an archaeologist, and she says to the priest, say, what's the big deal? So he wasn't resurrected. Didn't he start a great world religion? Aren't you happy with that? And the priest looks back into her face, and he says to her, nope. Unless Jesus was resurrected, all my faith and the faith of millions of others has come to nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I agree with that priest. If Jesus of Nazareth has not resurrected, there is no point in anybody embracing the tenets of Christianity. That's true. Jesus gave some great moral teachings. And part of my belief system would say, yeah, I want to follow those moral teachings. But if Jesus of Nazareth did not resurrect from the dead, forget it. The priest was right. 4 eyewitnesses and 2,000 years of history. And I realize that there's some of you who are still saying, yeah, come on, resurrection. I mean, this is like a B movie, the night of the living dead, or something like that. I know that, and that's understandable. Because you know what? We've never seen a resurrection before. Have you? I haven't. But then I remind you, 100 years ago, they had never seen a man walking on the moon. So let's just get this straight. Even though you haven't seen something and can't imagine something ever happening, doesn't mean the something cannot someday happen, right? So we're not going to use that little argument, well, I never seen it. Forget it. In fact, in closing here, let me give you something to brood on for a moment. And you can do with this whatever you wish, all right? How many galaxies, put it on the screen please, how many galaxies are there in this universe? Do you know what the number? Let's see the number, please. The number of galaxies, there are 100 billion galaxies in this universe. And do you know how many stars are in each galaxy? 10 to the 9th stars. Okay, so do the arithmetic now. That means we have 100 billion trillion stars in this universe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they had to get there somehow. There are two worldviews. The worldview I have chosen to embrace suggests that there is a master designer who has put all 100 billion trillion suns in place. And if that worldview is true, then can you understand it would not be beyond his power to also, couldn't he, raise a dead person back to life? Brood on that for a moment. For me, the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ answers these questions. And because of it, my life, I've got to tell you, my life has found peace, hope, and meaning. Contrary to Bertrand Russell's declaration that we live in a universe in ruins. The death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ tell me, no, 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 this universe is not in ruins. This universe lives with purpose and meaning. And there is a God who will have the last word. I want to end where I went a moment ago, and that's back behind the sterile curtain. I saw something I have never seen before in my life. You won't believe this, but trust me, I saw it. So here's the wife. In fact, she called me back to the hospital with her 3 children. We've made the decision. We're going to pull the plug, and we're going to let Norm die. The doctor said there's nothing, or there's just a machine keeping him alive. So I'm in that little intensive care unit with the family. As I mentioned, that little medical technologist comes in and switch. And I'm watching as that chest for a moment goes on breathing and then slowly begins to exhale for the last time. Now, this is what you're not going to believe. But with tears streaming down their cheeks, this now widow and her 3 children hold hands around the bed of my friend. And get this is true. They begin to sing. You know what they're singing? They're singing of their faith in Jesus of Nazareth. Their belief that one day they are going to see Daddy again. One day, because of Jesus Christ, she is going to see her husband again. They sang because they believed. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't make decisions for you, and you don't make decisions for me, but this much I must tell you, that with that belief that suggests the scars one day are going to be gone, and no more pain, no more morticians, no more death, I tell you what, there is no reason why you couldn't live with absolute hope and confidence and an inner joy and peace. Step into that sterile ICU room. Let science and academia step in, and they will not be able to stand with unbowed heads in the presence of such faith and such hope. That's what I believe. Think about it.